What's up, Rewatchers? Hi, I'm Dustin.
And I'm Lauren from Fashion Grunge, and we're here to tell you that the following podcast has strong adult language, so please keep in mind who around you can hear it.
Also, just a warning that there are spoilers ahead.
But it's been out for a long time. You really should have watched by now.
Exactly.
Enjoy! We got copyright, it's very follow the law and the law, how it's interpreted and what you need to kind of pin something on someone. It is pretty interesting though.
Yeah, I learned a lot. A lot from this for sure. Hello, Rewatchers. Welcome back to the Rewatch Recap, where we recap shows for nostalgia and pure amusement. I am Dustin, here again with Lauren from Fashion Grunge, where we are having a great old time reminiscing about Ghostwriter and all those good and all the crazy things that happened to us in our childhoods. And
we sure are. This has been quite a ride.
It's a great mystery, actually. So we're on Who Burned Mr. Brinker's store, which before recording. Lauren sent me a message about she was watching part 3, which is what we're about to recap, saying she was watching it and it literally made me LOL. She was talking about Lenny being a narc. It was hilarious. So I'm excited to get more commentary from you on that from the Fashion Grunge Gallery.
I'm not pleased with Lenny in this episode. I mean, eventually she's all right, but her initial thoughts, I was like, yo, be cool, Lenny. Calm down.
Yeah. That's the reason why they went back and retroactively made her a hippie in the first mystery.
I know.
She's going to have to be a little more chill.
I know. I was like, I thought she was kind of the progressive liberal one. She seems to be the hard ass in this one.
Oh, if you watch that concept pilot I was talking about in the first episode, yeah, she is way younger than this even. And she is kind of she's a street kid. She got attitude in that one, so I think they're kind of gradually moving her out of that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it kind of evens out if you think about it. So, also, so we were talking about this earlier, and you're talking about the writer of this episode, especially this mystery.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 parts of this mystery were written by DJ McHale. Do you know who that is?
Joel McHale?
No.
Damn. I thought the D might have been another name and then Joel McHale. No, I don't.
That'd been cool, but no.
Yeah, no.
He is actually the creator of Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, no way.
I know. How cool is that?
Oh, that's right? Cool.
I saw it and I was like, wait, DJ McHale. I'm like, is that the same? And I looked it up yeah, it's the same guy. Holy crap.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I also found out that he wrote the Tower of Terror TV movie that came out with Kirsten Dunst and Steve Guttenberg back in the day.
Oh, the 90s one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
oh, wow. Okay.
Isn't that neat? I think that's cool. So, yeah, he has more ghost stuff in his background. That's great. Anyway.
And kid stuff.
Yeah. He's very focused on the family-friendly things.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, okay. Are you ready for part 3?
Ready.
All right. Part 3 of Who Burned Mr. Brinker's Store. Take it away, Ghostwriter. Ghostwriter!
Word!
Okay, team, here's what happened before on Ghostwriter so far. The facts. Mr. Brinker owns a video and gaming store where the kids all hang out after school. After a man gave Brinker a letter, Ghostwriter read it was about copyright infringement and something to do with the FBI. Then Brinker yelled at Tina and Jamal to get out before Jamal told him that they'd boycott and he would be sorry. Later, Jamal wrote a letter to Brinker asking him to be nicer and dropped it off into Brinker's mail slot around 7 p.m. where some kids blew up firecrackers, causing him to rip the sleeve of his jacket. Also, Jamal saw some delivery guys being sketchy at the back of the store. The next day, the gang finds out that Brinker's back room burned down also around 7 p.m. the night before because the security footage of Jamal delivering the letter, and now he's a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
However, the kid in the video is, but Jamal isn't because he lied to Lieutenant McQuaid that he wasn't there.
Even though I'm pretty sure they knew.
No, they know. They know it's him. And it's got the same haircut and everything.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you sure it wasn't you? I'm like,
he's
a minor.
Can we backlight you a little bit and see what that looks like?
Yeah.
So Tina and Gabby interview a cab driver and find out that the man that gave Brinker the letter couldn't be a suspect because he was on a flight to D.C. at the time of the fire. Alex and Jamal figure out copyright infringement means to sell someone's intellectual property without permission. And Lenny found Jamal's letter at Brinker's, took it home without realizing it and thinking it was someone's school pictures. She opens it up and reads it and confronts Jamal that, oh my God, I took evidence and I need to give this to the police. And he begs her to wait so he can figure things out. And now we're back at Lenny's. After Jamal leaves, Lenny is considering what she should do. She starts pacing and she hits the preset beats on her keyboard and she starts ranting. You got me in trouble. You got me in trouble and you think you're such hot stuff.
I know.
What's she talking about?
I was like, how did she get in trouble?
Yeah, you got me in trouble and you're hot stuff. What does that mean?
You think you're hot stuff.
You think you're hot
Why?
stuff.
He doesn't think he's hot stuff.
I don't. Okay.
Maybe because he's lying to the cops and she's like, oh, you think you're so smart. Like, you think you're hot stuff. Like, you think you can get away with it, you know, because she's mad.
Well, then she starts to like angry rap about how she's feeling.
Yeah.
Which in this universe, color me impressed that she figured out some rhymes on the fly. Since it usually takes her days to complete a song.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
So good for her. The part that she's like, you're putting something down. Yo, that's not right.
I know.
There's something wrong. That's no way to be when friends are tight.
I'm telling you, they all lie to her all the time, telling her that she's a good artist. So I don't know why she's hung up on lying.
Awesome, Lenny. Like she's probably like, she's got like brass knuckles she's ready to hit them with or something. I don't know.
Doesn't she rope them into like a music video like way later? Like they're like,
oh yeah,
old.
She writes the song.
Yeah, where it's like embarrassing. They're old. It's not like cool. Yeah, they're like older.
Oh, but it's a fun song. I used to love these songs though, even though they're horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, they were fun.
Yeah, I'm like, watch out for Lenny though. She's got a sharp tongue. Watch out for that. Meanwhile, Jamal's running through the streets and finds one of the kids he saw at Brinker's that night on a dirt bike, and it's some kid in a blue bandana. And so he chased. I don't know how he recognized him because it was like so quick, but I didn't see a blue bandana on the street.
No, I didn't either. I didn't even see any of these kids. It was. I know. Kind of, this was weird. This part of the story.
So he's like, "Hey!" and he calls out to the guy, and the kid just starts speeding off.
Yeah,
like, well, that's suspicious.
I know. We like don't. I mean, well, we'll get to it later. Yeah.
What's up with this kid, right?
Yeah,
so
we don't know.
He chases after him. He loses him, and he bumps into Craig. And he's like, "Did you see that kid?" And he's like, "I didn't see anybody." And he tells Craig, "Hey, this is what's going on." And he tells him all about the stuff. And Craig's like, "Oh my God, right?" And he's like, "Well, I can, let me know if I can help in any way, right?" I'm like, he's nice, but why is he hanging around seventh graders?
Yeah.
He's like weird. At least 3 years older, right?
At least. Yeah.
At least he's hugely taller than them. Like he's
like
acting like he's younger though. Like
he's like a teenager though, I thought.
I know he's acting like he's a tween. It's strange.
Yeah, he is.
I think they wrote this for the wrong person. But anyway. So we go back to the school editing room, and Tina and Gabby are already editing their footage and their interviews, even though they don't have a definitive culprit to blame for the fire. And as they look at establishing shots, the video gets interrupted. We see some snow, and it looks like Tina recorded over a black and white Western. And she instantly realizes, oh, this is the tape I bought from Brinker. And, I told him it wasn't new. It wasn't wrapped. And I'm like, ooh, Tina's keeping up. And the tape pauses itself as the credits for directed by show up, and the words fly off the screen in green, and Tina's like, oh, what is this? It's her first time seeing Ghostwriter. Hence the spoiler in the credits that we mentioned before.
I know.
Anyway, so they watch the words fly over into a notebook on the other side of the room. I don't know why. Could have just done it right there in front of them. And Tina is freaking out, and Ghostwriter's like, video, yes? And Gabby writes back, yes. And Ghostwriter says, strange doings.
So weird.
And Gabby's like, is Tina on the team? Yes or no? It literally cuts to the chase.
I know. She goes, what's going on here? We need to keep this story moving.
Like, come on. Let's stop with this cryptic talk, Ghostwriter. And Ghostwriter's like, yes. And Tina's like, how did that happen? She's in shock, right? And poor thing, she doesn't, at least she wasn't alone. Could you imagine being alone and all of a sudden words are flying around? And you're like, am I going nuts?
I know, right? Like, is anyone seeing this? And your parents being like, what's going on?
And you're over here just watching the air, and they're like, what are you looking at? And like, you don't see that. And they're like, what do you see? What? And the next thing you know, you're in the padded room, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so we go back over to Jamal's, and Jamal goes into the kitchen to get some milk. And Grandma Cece's cutting up something, some celery or whatever, and she's like, "I need to talk to you about what happened. Come in here." She
Uh-oh.
takes that milk right out of his hands too. Um, she's like, you can see it on her face. She wants the truth. Like she's not
Yeah,
playing.
she's like, what's going on?
She's like, "Tell me what happened." And he's like, "All right, fine." So he lays it all out for her, telling her everything about how he lied and that he is the person in the video. And Cece's like, "And you dropped this off," and hands the letter to him. He's like, "Hey, how did you get it?" And then Lenny pops up behind him. And she decided, she was like, all right, she decided she needed to tell someone and decided it was best to just go to an adult that wasn't the police.
Thank God. I wrote she narked to Grams. I was like, I'll forgive her though.
Yeah. I was like, get his family informed at least, like
Yes.
to help him at least, right? They can meet this head on. And so Cece tells him, that lying makes you look more guilty even if you're not, right? And she says his parents will be home Monday afternoon and he needs to tell them the truth after school so they can go to the police station, And I'm like, that's like 2 days away. This is still Saturday.
I know. It is kind of funny this does happen in a whole weekend. Now that
It's crazy, but still, there's 2 days. Like, really, you're going to make the police think that this is all... Anyway.
They know.
Now you're implicated. Now Cece's implicated. Like, we're holding the truth. Anyway, why can't you take him to the station now, Grandma?
Yeah, wouldn't it be the sooner rather than later?
Like, you're his guardian at the present moment. Just go with him.
You should be filing a civil suit that they've even brought your grandson into this without you knowing anything. No adult knowing anything about this.
Exactly.
That's
and
kinda
pressuring
crazy.
him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she says the note is reasonable and that it would probably prove your innocence anyway. And there's something I want to point out. For some reason, when I'm watching this, the camera angle changes over her head. It makes her head go into the bottom left corner.
Oh.
And like all of a sudden, it's like she's in the center of the screen, and then it cuts back to him, and it cuts back to her, and her head's in the bottom left corner.
What?
And in my mind, editing wise, and knowing stuff like that happens, it usually means something's about to happen in that top right corner. So I thought Ghostwriter's going to pop up, right?
Going to pop in.
It never happened.
Oh.
So that shot was for nothing.
Oh, that's weird. They like kept
and I'm like,
in there.
It's bothered me to this day. Every time I watch this, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about that. That bothers me.
Oh, I didn't even notice it.
Oh, yeah. So Lenny leaves and Jamal goes upstairs to type to Ghostwriter, and he says, I'm scared. And Jamal asks, can I still write to you from jail? And
So
Ghostwriter
dark.
says, you can write anytime, any place. And I'm like, it
God.
sounds like Ghostwriter doesn't have faith that Jamal's going to not go to jail.
Ghostwriter's kind of useless in this whole mystery. It's kind of funny. Usually you need him for a lot of things, but like he hasn't, like Tina and Gabby basically are the ones piecing together everything here, and they don't get that much help from him.
No, they don't.
Really. Yeah.
There's a little bit of like clues. He doesn't tell them outright either.
No,
he just says,
they're doing their own thing.
Oh, what he says later makes me mad. So, but he could have been a better help. More encouraging words could have come from Ghostwriter at this point. But he tries. He gives another freaking quote, and it says, courage and danger is half the battle. And then tells Jamal, don't give up. I'm like, that's better, but still.
Okay.
Thanks for these weird sayings, Ghostwriter. Later, we go to Lenny's for Tina's team initiation. Like, they just drop everything. Everything's hunky-dory. We're doing this team initiation now. Out of nowhere. I thought it was the end of the day, and now it's like midday, and they're doing the initial. It was kind of out of sequence, it felt like.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. That we're like, okay, Tina's in. Yeah. Let's do this. That was a whole like song and dance for like 10 minutes. I was like, wait, back to the mystery.
We forgot about this. Yeah.
Yeah, explaining everything.
Yeah, they explained the whole concept of Ghostwriter to her. Basically, everything that you see in the opening sequence. If you want to know, just watch that.
Yeah, it literally is the opening sequence. Which Jamal is not in this episode. We don't get the actual theme song in this mystery. Yeah.
In this moment, anyway. Yeah. So he gives her Ghostwriter pen, and you got to promise to keep the team secret and all that stuff. So they do their Ghostwriter cheer, and she starts to write down questions, and Ghostwriter's answering from these cutout letters they have piled into the middle of the table, which I thought was smart.
That was cool. Yes, he has all these multiple
like these foamy letters. Yeah. So she asks, who are you? And he says, your friends call me Ghostwriter. And she says, I'm scared. And he says, please don't be. And then she says, why me? And he just puts a question mark in the air. And Lenny says, "Oh, you need to be more clear. He doesn't understand what you're asking." I'm like, is he stupid? Like, it's pretty obvious what she's asking. So she says, "Why did you choose me?" And he says, "I like your stories." And she says, "He must mean my videos. Thank you." And Gabby gives her this look that screams, "Dumbass." Like, she just looks at her like, "You have to write it."
I love that, like, the girls, like Gabby and Lenny, are like not really friendly at all.
They're
Like,
really not.
they're like the two, but Gabby is younger. Tina and Gabby are closer in age than Lenny is, right? Lenny's a bit older than both of them, I think.
Actually, Tina is in between their ages.
Oh, okay.
So
But
Gabby's 2 years younger than
Lenny?
Alex.
Oh, then Alex.
Because
Okay.
Alex, Jamal, and Lenny, they're all the same age.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
Gabby's 2 years younger than her brother, and Tina is a year above her. So she's in
Okay.
between them.
Who is Rob and all them? He ends up being their age too. He's
Yeah,
in
the main
class with
kid's
them.
age.
Yeah, the main
The
kids.
original, yeah.
Okay.
I say the main kids because they were the first ones. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tina, she writes it out, thanks, and he says, "You're welcome." And they explain to Ghostwriter, like, he's trying to help with the mystery by reading things they don't know about. And Jamal asks if there are any more ideas, and Ghostwriter writes back, "Videos are key." How do you know this, Ghostwriter?
I know. Can you see them or can you just read?
It's really strange, the limitations that Ghostwriter does and doesn't have in this one.
has and doesn't have, yeah.
So Tina, gets excited. She goes, "I'm psyched." And then Ghostwriter's like, "What?" Question mark. And she says, "It means I'm happy." And he writes back, "Welcome to the team, Tina. I'm psyched too." And they all go, "Ha ha ha ha," and they laugh, and that's the end of that scene. The next morning, as Gabby labels food at the bodega, Alex mans the register and he's researching FBI. And he discovers the Federal Bureau of Investigation's headquarters are in Washington, D.C. And so he asks Gabby, "Where was that guy flying to?" She goes, "It's in my casebook. Look it up." And so he does. It says, "Look it up." I'm like, don't you know? It's all the time. It's not that many people. And it was just yesterday you found this out.
I know, you could have just said DC, Gabby. I mean, honestly.
So he looks up, it was DC. And so Alex is like, "I got to go. Tell Mom and Dad I'll be back." And I'm like, "You mean I got to watch the store now by myself? Like, where are the parents?" Anyway, so he goes they're at the park, and Jamal walks up to the courts with Craig, telling him that Momo probably respects him more now, which proves true because Momo happily invites Craig over. "Come on, man, come on, play." I'm like, that's awesome. Good. It's building bridges in the community, and you got to love that, right? So Alex and Lenny show up, and Jamal points out, "Hey, Craig is playing on Momo's team." And Alex tells Jamal, "Hey, the FBI is in DC, and that guy with the letter flew to DC that night, so he's probably FBI."
Mm-hmm,
and
probably.
Just then, a patrol car pulls up into the park. Just drove right up into the park. That bothered me so much.
Brooklyn. They do that here.
Apparently that's a road. I don't know. And out steps Lieutenant McQuaid and Mr. Brinker. And McQuaid pulls out Jamal's ball cap. It's all got, dust and soot and all that stuff all over it.
Stussy.
And
it's a Stussy hat.
Yeah. And Craig's like, "Is this yours?" And then Craig's like, "Is his name in it? If it's not in it, you don't have any proof."
You don't have to answer that. He's like the Ghostwriter counsel.
I'm like,
you don't have to answer that.
Dude, you're only a couple of years old than me, right? And Jamal's like, "Yeah, it's mine." And Brinker's like, "Put the cuts on him. Put the cuts on him." I'm like, "Dude, he's 12. Calm down.
Arrest him.
Right. And Jamal tells him, "I took it off that day I was in the store." But then he mentions, "I don't know how it got in that back room." I'm like, no one mentioned the back room.
That. Why are you giving shit away?
Why are you saying that? Maybe it was a line that was cut or something that we weren't privy to, but still, it's like, dude, chill.
I know.
Don't say more than what they ask. So Lenny's like, "Why don't you quit picking on Jamal and find out who set that fire?" And I'm like, you know what? I just realized that it's really easy for a little white girl to say this type of stuff to the cops.
Oh, yeah, totally. Nothing's going to happen to her.
I
She'll
mean,
be
she's not a
fine.
Karen good, but she's trying to be an ally. So at least
She's
she's using her
trying.
privilege in that regard, I guess.
Greg is the real ally, trying to be over here describing circumstantial evidence and being like,
I'm like,
yo,
yeah, that's exactly. Just
don't. He's
Craig.
like the lawyer over here.
Craig's like, anyway, they don't have anything. It's just circumstantial evidence, as another term that I learned from this.
Same, yeah.
And he explains, even though it's true, it doesn't prove positively that you did it. And Alex is like, yeah, you only have circumstantial evidence. Like he's known that phrase his
I
whole
know,
life
yeah. He
now.
could not wait to use it.
It's locked in now. It's in there now. Oh, I love it. So Brinker gets upset and says, because it's just circumstantial, and McQuaid grabs Jamal's hands and is like, all right, but call me if you can find anything that'll help your case, right? And then he looks down and sees the stitched up jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, eek, oh no. And then he says, Jamal, we'll be in touch.
Mm.
And then he gets in the car and they drive off. And Jamal's like, it's time for a rally. And Craig's like, oh, cool. What's a rally? And they're like, sorry, dude. It's kind of a private thing.
I
Sorry.
know. He helped you.
And it hurts his feelings so bad. You can see it.
I mean, I'd be kind of hurt, but he does seem like he's like 18. I'm like, dude.
He's like, and Alex is like, man, he's not on the team. Can't tell him. Sorry. And like, yeah. And yeah. And they're at least 3 years younger than you, Craig. Chill out. You have older friends now. So in this version, they just write rally and the sidewalk chalk, and Ghostwriter shows it to Gabby on a produce sign, and she's watering vegetables at the bodega. Even though there's no L, she says, I gotta go to Lenny's.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, how do they know where to go?
I know. I guess it's always gonna be Lenny's because her dad's never there.
That's true. He's a jazz musician. He's wild. Isn't he like a jazz saxophonist or something? Yeah.
Yeah. I think he plays multiple instruments.
He's wild.
Tina sees like Rally flashing on a garbage man's coveralls, and she's like, "Oh!" and it's like glowing on her face.
Yeah, hers was like really jarring when she was like, "Whoa!" It was like,
does no one else see this glow coming onto her face?
Coming on her face, yeah. It's like, whoa.
Anyway, so she runs off, and we hop over to Lenny's, and Jamal like calls this meeting to order, and they all put their hands and they say, "Ghost Rally." I'm like, what? They never do it ever again in the show, ever again.
So funny.
Ghost Rally.
Yeah, Ghost Rally.
No. So Jamal decides to come clean to everyone about being in the video and shows them all the note that he wrote. And Lenny defends him because she now understands why he lied in the first place. And Jamal apologizes for all of them, for keeping this a secret. And they're all on his side, and they say they're going to help him. However, Gabby says that their final suspect was the kid in the video, but if it was Jamal, they got nothing. And Jamal says, well, I've got a list of suspects. And he starts to name off the people. The delivery guy at the store from Tony's Central Park video. And then he says, the kid in the blue bandana on the dirt bike with the firecrackers. This sounds very Clue, doesn't it?
It's like, that's a reach, Jamal. It's a little bit of a reach.
And Lenny says, maybe Brinker burned down the store for insurance or something.
Oh, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah. And Gabby says, well, he has an alibi. He was at a school meeting at 7. Why was he at a school meeting?
Yeah, does he have kids?
Maybe it's because he's like the neighborhood hangout or something. I don't know.
Very weird. It's also weird that kids don't have this type of area to go either, like a arcade or like not a food place. It's not like a candy store, but it's like another place for them to go that's not a coffee shop because they're not old enough for a coffee shop.
Right. Or a malt shop.
Yes, yeah. It would be a candy store, I guess.
Hanging out with the soda jerk.
Yep. Yeah, that would be like the most normal place.
And a pharmacy. That's what they used to hang out. They used to hang out in pharmacies and drink soda and
then
malts.
Like the lunch counter.
Yeah. So Alex mentions that about the copyright infringement and the FBI, and then Tina mentions the video that she bought had a movie on it. And Jamal says, I'll talk to Craig since he knows about electronics and videos and stuff. And I'm like, okay, we're starting to put stuff together. Finally, that's good. We're saying finally, but it's only been a couple days.
Yeah.
All right. And then Ghostwriter springs up from Gabby's casebook saying, trouble, before he jumps into Lenny's computer. And it starts to show a copy of an arrest warrant for Jamal Jenkins with a charge as arson. They plan on arresting him tomorrow.
How the are they gonna charge like an 11 or 12-year-old with arson and his parents don't know?
I know.
Like, that is wild. He hasn't been interviewed. Like, they would have to have been interviewed before there's a literal warrant for a massive felony out for this kid. Like,
I
I
mean, it's
would think.
crazy.
Yeah, it's
Well,
really crazy.
we got a little fiction in there, but suspension of disbelief.
Yes, yes.
So Jamal freaks out. He says, guys, we got to figure this out or I'm going to jail. Into part 3. I mean, crap. The heat is on.
The heat is really on.
Get it? Get it?
The heat is
Fire,
really, really on.
Police, heat. Anyway,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. The
I'm
fuzz.
so punny.
The heat is on. He's definitely got heat now. I don't know what
got
he's
the
going
heat.
to do.
So, yeah. Anyway, so come back next week for the exciting conclusion of Who Burned Mr. Brinker's Store. Don't forget to watch along with us. There will be links to the playlists of Ghostwriter. Keep watching them too. Keep watching all the shows. It's fun. It's fun. Show it to your kids.
Yes,
Maybe
if
they'll
you
like
do
it. You never know.
have kids, yeah, let them see some of these because these are cool. I'm curious if they would like it. I think they would.
I think they would if they can just handle how slow things move as far as them writing. You
Yes.
can always fast forward through that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have linked the episodes. Go for it. Watch it. You can find Lauren's Fashion Grunge link tree in the show notes. You can find our stuff in the show notes for the rewatch recap. Come back. We'll finish this out next week. Keep those casebooks updated. See you later for part 4. Bye, everybody.
Bye.